You ever wake up and feel your body is just heavy? Like no matter how clean you think you're eating, you're still tired, sluggish, bloated? Yeah, that was me back in March, and that's why I decided to go all in on a 7-day juice fast, not to lose weight, not for some trendy detox. I did it for my mind, my body, and my soul because it needed a reset. So in this video, I'm bringing you inside the entire journey, not the highlights, not just the perfect Instagram moments, the cravings, the energy dips, and the mental battles, and the breakthroughs that honestly surprised me the most. So if you ever thought about doing a juice fast or just curious what actually happens to your body when you're giving it pure liquid nutrition for a full week, then you're definitely in the right place. Alright, so let's start with the setup. So before I actually started, and before you're thinking about jumping into a juice fast, here is what you need to know. 1, preparation is everything. You can't just wake up and start fasting. So I spent 2 days before day 1, started tapering down, no processed foods, no heavy meats, just drinking a ton of water, for real. Mindset matters even more, because if you go into it thinking it's gonna be miserable, guess what? It will be. I made up my mind that this was an act for self-care, not self-punishment, And honestly, your kitchen becomes your template, because I stocked up on fresh produce like leafy greens, cucumbers, pineapples, apples, beets, ginger, lemons, everything I needed to rotate the flavors I'm gonna talk to y'all about later, just to, keep it exciting. And lastly, I make my juices fresh daily, or basically daily. No bottled juices full of preservatives, no store-bought shortcuts, every single bottle made by hand. And this wasn't about being perfect, this honestly was about being intentional. So there was the foundation. And we're gonna get into day 1 in just a second. And I'm gonna let y'all know how the first 24 hours tested me harder than I thought. Alright, so day 1, I woke up feeling good. My mindset was a 7 out of 10, and my stomach was flat from the prep that I did like 2 days before. So I'm gonna get into my first juice that I actually had. So it's kind of like a citrus glow. It was oranges, grapefruits, lemons, ginger, and coconut water. It was definitely busting. Could definitely tell you that. It was a little sweet, not too crazy though, but it boosted my immunity. It helped my digestion definitely stay smooth. You feel me? And I was actually surprised, because I'm like, all right. I wasn't really craving a lot of stuff. It hydrated me better than anything else that I grabbed or that I could have grabbed that morning. Dunkin' Donuts, frozen coffee, French vanilla. You feel me? With a shot of espresso and some whipped cream. But yeah, anyways, midday check-in. This is where it really got real, because you start noticing habits that you didn't even realize you had, like reaching for snacks without even thinking. You feel me? Or you could be walking into your kitchen out of boredom, just saying like, yo, I think I should eat something. Like, nah, just stay down. The smelling of the food and instantly craving it, even if you wasn't hungry, like, that's a real thing. But this all mental, because honestly, I'm a chicken guy. So the smell of Popeyes at work, I'm a teacher, so at school, it'd be Popeyes in there. I'd be like, damn, I almost folded. But I did it, grab my water, and I had some citrus glow, in my bag, so I could just pop that in real quick. But I kept reminding myself, I already ate. Your body, it just isn't used to not being consistently full. So my evening recap for day 1, honestly, it was hunger from, midday. I feel like that was the hardest. Food is an entertainment for a lot of us, and honestly, without it, you start realizing how often you use it to break up your day. And guess what? I made it through day 1 clean, had no cheats, no regrets, small wins stacked, confidence was high, I ain't gonna hold you. Alright, so this is where we get into day 2. I like to call it the energy shift, So day 2, I woke up feeling a little lighter, not just physically, mentally as well. It definitely wasn't easy though, because I was dragging a little bit because of the sleep I didn't have. But overall, my stomach felt empty, in the best way. Eventually, during the morning, I snapped out of it. As like an hour or 2 kicked in, I was good. So the first juice I had more of that citrus glow. I stayed consistent because, it worked the day before and I had leftovers. So here's the crazy part about the midday. Instead of crashing like I usually would have, without having a healthy breakfast, I was actually cooling. I had no caffeine, had no sugar crashes, just steady, clean energy. And mentally, it felt like a fog was lifting off my brain a little bit, and that's a crazy description, but that's the best one I can give you. So the big win that I had was no bloating. My focus definitely improved. My cravings for heavy fried food stayed down, because I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't out the woods yet though. I was still around food constantly, at work, in public, even in my own crib. But I honestly stayed locked in. Here's where I kept reminding myself that the discomfort was definitely temporary, and the reward is the punishment. And that's a quick tip for anyone trying this. If you're thinking about doing a juice fast, don't rely on willpower. Build systems, pack your juices the night before, you feel me? Have your gallon of water ready, and avoid places that you'll be tempted, especially early on, days 1 through 3 for sure, because discipline is definitely easier when you take decisions out of it. You know what I'm saying? So now we're going to get into day 3 just a second, because day 3 was definitely one of the ones, and that was the real test. And anybody who ever did a fast before, day 3 is deadass the hardest day. So stay tuned. So day 3, man, let's be real. Day 3 almost broke me. For those of y'all watching, I might say it did, but I don't care. Not because of hunger, not because of the juice, but because of the temptation around me. So the morning check-in, here we go. So I woke up feeling alright. Energy was about a 7. My mindset was focused, but I was a little rattled. I didn't sleep great again the night before. I don't really sleep great at all, but whatever. Still, I grabbed my green fuel juice. So that's mango, spinach, green apples, cucumber, coconut water. Bussin', but that's definitely a drink you gotta drink at night. But I'm built different, so whatever. Detoxifying, is high in fiber for digestion and antioxidants, boosting my recovery. It set the tone for the day, so I thought, But at work, I walk in, I smell the pancakes. Man, smell hit me like a truck. I ain't gonna lie to you. Sweet, buttery, thick pancake. Feel me? Crisp corners. Oh my God, you feel me? So for a second, I'm like, damn, one little piece wanna hurt. I'm still fasting, right? Technically, but nah. It was protein pancakes that they had. I folded, not too crazy. I just had a little piece, school-sized piece, you feel me? So technically, it's not a fast no more, but I don't care, I stayed down. But it was bigger than a bite, no cap, because mentally, it cracked my perfect streak, armor, or whatever you wanna call it. So the lesson I learned really was when you slip, it's not really the end, it's just a moment to get right after the slip. That's what matters the most, we got opportunities to be better. So you can spiral and say, screw it, I already failed, I'm about to just do it over next month, or you can just reset and keep going, and I chose to reset. So after the pancake, I didn't binge, I didn't quit, drank more water, went to the gym that day, doubled up on my green fuel, cleaned me out, and honestly, I just moved on. I logged it in my notebook and moved on. So when it came to evening time, I had a real reflection. Hunger level was a 6 out of 10. Had no bloating really. My energy was definitely stable. I was humbled mentally because I'm like, damn, this is harder than I thought. But I felt stronger because I realized beating the urge isn't really about slipping. It's about bouncing back faster. And every time you do, you just realize like, damn, I could have did without. So that's a quick tip for anyone fasting. If you slip, just own it. write it down. Get curious about it, not judgmental. Ask yourself, like, why did I fold? What can I prep better next time so I don't even have to think about it? Or when I crave it, I can just go to this. So juicing isn't just a body reset. It's a mental discipline challenge, no cap. So I somewhat survived day 3, but now the question is, can I lock in for the weekend? Or, approaching day 4, or what happens when the weekend comes. We're gonna see what happens. Cause Friday is usually the cheat day. Day 4, this is when it started clicking. So I honestly woke up, had the best sleep of the fast so far. It was deep, uninterrupted, restorative, and my stomach was flat, calm, no bloating, no hunger pains either. We like that. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to stay locked in that way. No cap. So the morning juice I had, if you want to know what's in it, you can make it yourself. It's called Pink Panther. So there's raspberries, pineapple, gala apples, ginger, pink grapefruit, lemon, watermelon, coconut water. So super hydrating, 1. 2, it's rich in antioxidants. 3, it supports digestion from the pineapple and the ginger. 4, it boosts your immunity. 5, and last but not least, the taste. It's bright, refreshing, and honestly, it put me in a whole different zone. So the observations that I had during this midday was that my energy was consistent. I had no crazy crashes, but I did notice the hardest time is still between 10:30 and 1 p.m. And that's when, boredom, hunger kicks in, or lunchtime for most people. But instead of folding, I reached for some fruit. Had 2 bananas, didn't trip over it because real fruit was still a part of my safety net, if needed type. So the small wins I had, I turned down Oreos, I turned down free lunches. I had work people trying to go to the store for me, shit like that. Kept my water and juice on me. You feel me? Notice my face was getting slim. My skin was glowing a little different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm feeling good. Like, day 4, I'm like, all right. So the evening check-in, my mind was sharp. My body felt lighter. Had no bloating. Like I said, when I started the day, sleep was getting deeper. And the only thing that I wish I could have done differently was have more juice on hand just for the evening cravings. Because, shit, I brought more than enough during school or during work. And then chugging it. But more juice equals less temptation. It's simple as that. At least in my experience. I'm speaking on what I personally went through. So day 5, Friday, man, the end of the work week. So I woke up, I felt a little sluggish, I'm not gonna lie, because, I hit the sauna in the crib the night before. My muscles felt a little looser, I had less tension overall. So when I woke up this morning, the night before, I made a spicy green detox juice. So I meant the night before. Yeah, I said the night before. Green apple, cucumber, spinach, lemon, cayenne, pepper, and ginger. Bussin', but a little spicy. But it's detox ingredients, of course. Boost your metabolism, anti-inflammatory, detox powerhouse, and the little cayenne kick, I ain't gonna lie, woke you up a little bit. Better than any coffee ever did. Feel me? So the midday breakdown during day 5, this is what stood out. I didn't really have any cravings crazy like I thought I would. You know, it's like my brain finally accepted like, all right, we ain't eating solid food right now. And there's no discussion, no argument. Yep, so my energy stayed clean. I wasn't bouncing off the walls, but I wasn't crashing either. I was very neutral. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't racing through none of my tasks. I wasn't erratic. Wasn't chasing dopamine from food. I was cruising. I was present. So my weight when I started, it was like 210. But then now I'm hovering around, well, at day 5, I'm hovering around 203, 204. Stomach felt tighter. Focus was laser sharp, and mentally, I felt ready for the weekend, which is really the real danger zone, you know what I'm saying? Without the fear of folding, because I wasn't starving really during day 5, you know? I was finally fueling. So after day 5, man, I'm thinking there's 2 more days to go. But with the weekend, with no work schedule, no distractions, be like the final, you know what I'm saying? Like, would I actually fold before it's over with? Shit. Day 6 and 7, man, the weekend definitely hit different with no work schedule, no meeting, no built-in distractions, just me, my juices, my thoughts, a lot of free time. And this is where it got real. I ain't gonna hold you. So the things that I definitely noticed, physical change wise, that my stomach definitely felt flat through it all, no rumblings. Energy was a solid 8 out of 10, you know, almost all day. Sleep deep for sure, like cold deep. Feel me? Cravings, damn near gone. You know, when I started to fast, I was 210, and by the end of day 7, I was sitting at 203, you know, full 7 pounds down. But more importantly, I felt lighter mentally too, like, damn, like, I seen this actually go through, you know, even with the little hiccups. So body wins I had, you know, my skin was glowing. People kept, you know, saying, you know, your skin's glowing, what you been doing? Digestion felt smoother than ever, no bloating, you know, even, like I said, slipping, water all day. And the craziest part, like the mental chatter around food, the constant thinking about the next meal, it got real quiet, real quick. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't obsessed with food anymore. And I'm gonna get to the juices that carried me, because I feel like this is definitely important for y'all. So I'm gonna give it to y'all in a pack. So first is Citrus Glow, you know, for energy mornings. You know what I'm saying? You wanna wake up and replace some with coffee. Green Fuel, something I drink midday. You know, it's my detox lifeline. Pink Panther for hydration and skin glow. Mango Sunrise for that vitamin boost and recovery. And the Spicy Green Detox for metabolism and fat burning. So each juice wasn't just a drink, it was a tool to keep me locked in. And I ain't gonna hold you, if I stay consistent with the systems, I definitely wouldn't have caved. So the mindset shifts, I didn't really need caffeine to wake up. I didn't need heavy meals to feel full. You know, I didn't need to reward myself with junk food. Food became fuel, not just entertainment. And honestly, that changed everything. And I'm gonna tell y'all the mistakes I made. You know, I'm gonna keep it a buck, and you can avoid these. So I didn't prep enough extra juice for one. I underestimated how hard boredom hunger hits. You know, I needed a better schedule to log my moods, energy, hunger. And if I set a check-in time daily, even if it was 5 minutes, I could have been even more sharper. I probably would have went longer than a week. And the most powerful moment I had was when I realized I didn't fold when temptation hit hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was one time I wanted to get some fries real quick, went to McDonald's, pulled in the parking lot. I looked, I'm like, damn, nah, quiet. Free food offers, turned them down. The smell of fried food around me stayed locked. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need willpower, I just needed a vision stronger than the cravings, and stick to the plan, like, oh, this is temporary, shit like that. So 210 to 203 for me. My pops, 374 before surgery, 340 5 weeks after, and still maintaining to this day, just from adding juicing into his routine. And the journey's still going. This is not a theory, this is receipts. So if you're wondering, could I do something like this? I'm gonna tell you this right now. You might as well do it. Don't overthink it, because when you start thinking it, that's when it get complicated. You don't gotta be perfect, you just gotta do it. You don't gotta fast for 7 days. You can start with 1, 2, 3 days, and do, like, you can fast for 3 days every 2 weeks or some shit like that. I don't know, however you wanna do it. You don't gotta be 100% right. You just have to stay in the game longer than your old habits to really see a change in, you know, how you think and move and all of that. So if this video gave you anything, a spark, laughs, inspiration, drop Juice Man in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Like the video, subscribe if you want more content like this. I'll show y'all how I make my juices from scratch, all live, no edited, you know what I'm saying? So make sure that you subscribe. Be Rice the Juice Man. Share this with someone who needs a little push. We're not just drinking juice over here. We're changing lives one sip at a time. Juice Man is over and out. Just juice. Go get yours.